I recently went for a driver fitting at one of the UK's best fitting studios, and after a painstaking wait, my new driver has arrived. I've now had time to test it on both the range and on the course. So what's the verdict? Does a current generation, properly fitted driver really make that much of a difference versus one which isn't? Let's find out. This is my new driver. It is the Titleist GT2 with an 8-degree head in a Tour AD graphite design XC5 shaft, not that I know what most of those letters mean, and a rather jazzy blue and black Golf Pride grip. This is my old driver. It is the QI10 in 10.5 degree head, a Diamana shaft, which I know is a lot less expensive, and a perfectly okay grip as well. Now, the QI10 was also fitted for me, but in a far less exacting and bespoke way than my new GT2. It was also fitted for me when I was a different golfer. I was playing off about 19 or 20 at the time and had only been golfing for about 6 months. It was fine. It did a job for a while. It is relatively forgiving. That's kind of its MO. And I was able to learn how to basically hit a driver, which was something that I couldn't really do before I had it. And it helped me get down from where I was as a very high teens handicapper to thankfully something a bit lower. However, there were some definite undeniable problems with the driver, and they eventually led me to go to get a fitting very recently. If you're interested in the fitting process, you can see the full video on the channel. The main issue, frankly, was distance. Now, I don't swing the club massively fast, but I don't swing it massively slowly either. I'd say my swing speed is pretty average, but the QI10 just was not going as far as it should have done, mostly due to spin. Now, the spin rate on that club for me was just absolutely sky high, which was robbing me of a ton of distance, and even more so if there was even a breath of wind into me, it just went nowhere. It would balloon up in the air, fall short, and I was often the shortest hitter in my group, which was galling, but kind of just felt like it shouldn't necessarily be the case if I had a properly fitted driver. Although it definitely helped me get my handicap down, obviously, I felt that in order to take the next step, I needed something different. I often had long irons into long par 4s or couldn't reach par 5s in 2, and so I felt like my scoring was inhibited by my driving. Now, I know that it is often much more the workman than the tool. My driving can be a little bit erratic, but I really had started to feel like if I was going to take the next step in my game, I needed something that A, would go further and spin less, and B, frankly, that I just had more confidence in. So that's why I went to get fitted. I went down to Precision Golf in Surrey, ultimately ending up with this, the Titleist GT2, which I love the look of, but obviously looks don't really matter that much. What is important is how it performs, and I've had a few weeks with it now to be able to start to form some conclusions on that front.
Oh, I never felt so alive!
The very first thing I did as soon as it arrived was take them both down to the range to try to get some comparative data. Now, of course, there was a ton of data used during the fitting, but it had been a few weeks before this arrived, and I wanted to kind of hit them both back to back on my usual range to get some numbers. So I took them both out, I took my stack radar with me, and after a fairly thorough warm-up, hit a bunch of shots with both. Now, truth be told, I wasn't actually hitting this very well at the start. I think that for all of its flaws and difficulties, I have adjusted to my current or previous driver. I had it for over a year and a half, so whether it was optimized for me or not, I have adjusted to it and learned how to hit it. It doesn't go very far, but I can usually manage it in terms of dispersion. And with this, it's just a different beast and a different feel, particularly the weighting of it. It is a much lighter swing weight. I don't know a ton about such things, but it is. And so just getting used to that was taking a little bit of time. However, I did immediately see that it was going significantly further. My average carry numbers, and yes, carry before you all call me puny in the comments, with the QI10 was 230 yards. My average carry with this straight off the bat was 247, and I was able to get it up over 250 once I'd started hitting it a bit better. After I had had a few swings with it and started to kind of get the feel with it, it was going less offline and flying a bit further, and the ball flight was just so different straight off the bat. Rather than having to look straight up as I hit a shot as if I'd been hitting a lob wedge, it was a much more penetrating, lower ball flight, and the feel off the face with this is absolutely great as well. But of course, the range doesn't really matter. Obviously, we want to hit it well on the range, and having more distance is good, particularly with driver, but what really matters is what it does out on the course. Well, it's early days, but the signs so far are very positive. Again, initially it took a little bit of getting used to. I think I was a bit nervy hitting it and had very high expectations. So the first few drives with it weren't necessarily great, but things have very much been moving in the right direction. As I saw on the range, distance is up, and that is certainly something that I was looking to achieve with the fitting. I found myself driving the green on some short par 4s at the home club, which I had never done previously, having way less into par 5s, and not always being the shortest hitter in my group. And isn't that what golf's really all about?
And that's the real quiz. That was the real quiz.
Wind in particular is way less problematic. The course I play at most often is quite windy, and it is autumn, so there is quite a lot of wind around. I have found so much more potential for getting decent distance out of this into a headwind. If I hit a good one, the wind is affecting it way less, and a couple of times I have found my ball 30 yards or so further down than I would have expected to with the QI10 into a headwind. And obviously distance is great, but accuracy is just as, if not more important. And I would say that dispersion is the same, basically. I wouldn't say that this club is any less forgiving or more likely to go wildly offline than my old driver, even if it isn't so explicitly built for forgiveness in the same way that the QI10 is. Now, of course, I am still an average golfer, and I am fully capable of flaring one out massively right or smothering one left or kind of anything in between. And it's not a miracle club, and even though it has been fitted exceptionally well to me, I believe, it's still not going to eradicate every single miss. But those misses, frankly, are no wider than they were with the QI10. This driver goes a lot further, but I haven't found it going further offline. If anything, I've just been nearer the green on holes if I do hit one offline rather than offline and further back. So that is obviously a trade-off that I'm very, very happy with. Interestingly enough, I was told something very similar during the fitting, that there is a kind of myth among golfers, and it's certainly something that I had believed, which was that lower spinning drivers could go more offline.
It can go, if you turn a ball over with less spin, it will run further offline. Yeah. But it doesn't actually, higher spin will hold the shot shape fractionally. Okay. So technically higher loft is a bit straighter, but like that last shot, if we get the flight in the right place, you go from 255 to 265, 270. Right. So as that kind of cone goes out, yes, it goes marginally further offline, but it's not going more offline because it's less loft.
Okay,
it's going further because it's less loft.
I think people like me assume that spin rate coming down is suddenly going to make that dispersion go way wider.
And if it's only spin.
Right, okay.
So if you've got side spin on it, if it's the same amount of side spin and it's the same face angle, then if the flight comes down, when it lands, it runs out further. Mm-hmm. So that's the bit where it amplifies out a bit, but it doesn't suddenly turn a 5-yard draw into a 20-yard draw. And frankly, when I do catch one really well, the feeling, the sound, the trajectory, they're all just so much better and so much improved versus what I was playing with before. The ball is actually coming off the club face more forward as opposed to just ballooning up in the air. And it really is a lovely feeling club to hit when you catch one flush. So do properly fitted clubs really make a difference?
Well, so far the answer for me is yes. Now, it is early days, of course, and the proof will be in the play over the next few weeks and months, but so far the signs are very positive. Key to all of that, I think, is confidence. I know that this driver is the best it can possibly be for me, my game, and my swing right now. That swing is, of course, far from perfect, and I am going to be working on it as a part of my overall golfing journey, but I do know that when something goes wrong with my driver, when I do hit one offline or I don't catch one well, that is a fault with me, not the club itself. And being able to feel confident in that fact and assured of that is a very big step in the right direction. And it has absolutely tangibly addressed the things that I wanted to get out of a fitting. Lower launch angle, more penetrating ball flight, less trouble into headwinds, all of those things are noticeably improved already, and I think they will only get more so once I get even more used to the club. So I'm happy and I'm optimistic as to where it goes from here. I honestly feel like if I can get this club dialed in, there are 2, maybe 3 shots in that can come off my handicap, which will obviously be a big help towards my ultimate goal of getting to scratch within a year. And there are potentially even more gains to be made with my kit, as I will probably be going through the same process with my irons and my wedges and my putter as the weeks and months go on. Thank you for watching. I hope you found the video interesting and useful. If you have had any positive or any negative experiences with getting fitted clubs, please do let me know in the comments below and we can discuss. And if you are interested in this journey that I'm currently on of trying to get from 10 to scratch in a year of golfing pretty much full time, then do subscribe to the channel and I will see you in the next one.